How's it going, guys? Salvi from Mars Sunshine 1000. Today is November 24th, 2020, and our main focus in this video will be the big storm that has the potential to become extremely major in the United States, bringing strong winds, potentially high surf along the coast, and maybe coastal flooding if this becomes big enough, as well as a decent amount of snowfall and severe thunderstorms could be a factor as well with this storm. So let's first begin by looking at the forecasted 10-meter wind speed for the GFS, and you could see that the GFS is very lenient on strengthening this to a pretty powerful low pressure, because we see the low pressure lingering right around Indiana and Ohio around 6 days out and down to 979 millibars, which is equivalent to a category 2 hurricane. So the GFS is definitely leaning towards strengthening this, as well as the European model, which expects it to rapidly intensify into something around a 989 millibar low pressure system. It's a little bit weaker than GFS, however, it's still a strong low pressure system that could bring strong winds, potentially heavy snowfall if the conditions are right, as well as severe thunderstorms and coastal flooding and I already mentioned strong winds, and coastal flooding along the coast. So this could potentially be major for the East Coast. So in terms of the timing of this is still 5 days out, so there is still a lot of time to really iron out the forecast, and it isn't entirely sure that we will experience that major strong storm in the US headed into December. However, based off of what we're seeing right now, with both the European model and the GFS model agreeing that we will see a strong storm form going into December, it's giving me confidence that we will see some type of major storm form in the United States by next week after Thanksgiving weekend. So this is definitely something to monitor over the next several days. And you might be asking, what will trigger this to happen? What will make this form if it does form into a powerful storm? Well, there are two things. For one thing is that there's a weak subtropical jet moving through the southeast and throughout the South United States pretty much. However, as we continue to move forward, there's going to be a little bit of a trough that comes from the Northwest Pacific, and it's going to bring a little bit of energy or a little bit of it's going to bring a cold air parcel further south to the point where it's going to be far south enough to interact with that subtropical jet. And that cold air parcel will begin to trigger what will become the low pressure system that will form right around Texas, I would say, as this cold air parcel meets up with the warm and humid subtropical jet. And as you should know that during the winter, usually when there's a cold air parcel and a very warm air parcel close to each other, that isn't good, because that usually begins instability and convection occurs as a result of it, and usually a low pressure system or a major storm would form if the instability is strong enough. And the cold air parcel is expected to move just far south enough to interact with the subtropical jet, and then you see that going into 5 days from now, it forms a low pressure system since the cold air parcel moved just far south enough. However, that's not the only thing that's gonna form this powerful storm in the United States. We at the same time, we also have a pretty strong and a pretty cold Alberta Clipper that's going to move through the United States. And on the backside, it's going to bring very cold Arctic air with it. And since there's a ridge in the United States, the subtropical jet is going to move up, is going to force this low pressure to move a little bit more northward. And since there's a ridge that's just north of this Alberta Clipper, it's going to move further southward, and it's going to come to a point where these two low pressure systems will combine around 6 days from now. And with the combination comes very strong instability, because like I said, we have a very warm and humid subtropical jet moving up north. However, at the same time, we also have very cold a very cold dip in the jet stream, bringing Arctic air on the back side of this clipper. And once they interact, that's going to create just a very powerful storm, because that cold Arctic air is going to try to fill in for the lighter, dense, the less dense, warm, and humid air that's within the subtropical jet. And as it does so, it creates wind, and as the warm, humid air rises, it creates convection to the point where we could see heavy snow and potentially rapid convection to the point where severe thunderstorms will be likely if this scenario were to occur, with the Arctic air creating that instability and the strong upper level winds to create potentially powerful severe thunderstorms throughout the southeast. Now, again, like I said, there's still 5 days out. We're still 5 days out, and it's unsure how powerful this will be. Who exactly this will impact? Well, I'll give you a general idea that if this low pressure system does form, which is it likely will at this point. I don't know how powerful, but it likely will. If this low pressure forms, then it's likely gonna affect the eastern half of the U.S. However, what type of impacts you'll see? Will you see snow or not? How strong will the winds will be in your location? Will you experience severe thunderstorm, heavy rain? Those are all questions that the forecast still need to iron out over the next several days, because it's still highly uncertain who exactly will experience impacts. However, if this scenario does occur, we're going to expect very strong winds throughout the United States, especially in the Midwest and the Northeast, where you could see coastal flooding as a result of the strong winds, as well as severe thunderstorms in the southeast. So, what will determine if this powerful storm actually forms or not? Well, it's gonna lead to a variety of factors. Firstly is, obviously, how is the timing of this? Like, when will this interact? Because if one of these low pressure systems moves just a bit faster or just a bit slower, then it won't really be a major or powerful storm as we initially anticipated. However, I still believe a low pressure system will form, but the speed of this really depends on how powerful this trough coming from the Northwest Pacific will be, or how far south it will dip. Because if it dips far south enough, it'll move slightly faster, because there's going to be a little bit more instability. The subtropical jet will be a little bit stronger to move that low pressure system just fast enough, and also it'll create a stronger, just a strong enough low pressure system right around southeast, to the point where it could definitely create a stronger storm in the future, which is anticipated as this Alberta clipper moves further south. And as for the Alberta clipper, it also depends on how far south it goes, because if it stays further north, then we're less likely to see that powerful storm. However, if it moves further south to where we encounter more instability, and this ridge that's just to the north of it, as I'll show you in, let me find the North America map. As you'll see over here, you see that there's going to be an Alberta clipper that moves further south, and it really depends on how far south this ridge wants to push it. Because if it pushes it further south, expect a bigger storm. If it pushes it up further north, then expect a weaker storm. So we still have to iron all those things out. It also depends on this ridge. If this ridge will be just far to the east, to the west enough, or just far to the east enough to really push this up north or slow it down. We have to just wait and see. However, for a lot of the East Coast, I would definitely be paying attention to this, because this could definitely become a powerful storm if everything goes right. And I'll say that it's becoming more likely now, since we're seeing both the computer models agree that we're going to see a powerful storm impact the United States. We still have to wait and see how powerful it will be and who exactly it will affect, but I will say with certainty that you will see some type of storm in the United States going into December next week. And as for what's happening right now, we see that We have a little bit of snow like I forecasted yesterday, and the computer models forecasted yesterday, as well as several thunderstorms impacting the Midwest. If we move on to the futurecast radar, that snow is expected to move further up north as the low pressure system moves further up north, bringing a lot of the latent heat with it further up north to remove that snow from the Midwest. And this should be mainly a relatively weak storm, which is good news. However, definitely prepare for severe thunderstorms and a pretty big squall line forming even late at night at 3 a.m. where another powerful squall line is expected to form in front of what's already there. So keep that in mind in the southeast because especially since it's late at night, most people will be sleeping during this time. So just make sure to at least be aware of these thunderstorms and bring those loose things inside, because damaging winds and and large hail are in the range of possibility with these squall lines. But I guess that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and I hope you guys have a good day, a good night, and just enjoy your day.